city. Everything there was dark and dirty. Outside my window was a steeple.
Hi, I'm Robin Hoffman. I'm a Charlottesville public artist, and some people might ask, what is a public artist? Well, a public artist is somebody who does public art, something where it is seen by the public, appreciated hopefully by the public, and of course adds to the community as a culture. We're defined by art, and one of the things that I do is I go along. Albemarle County is gorgeous, okay? I mean, for the most part, most people are stewards of their land. They take very good care of their property, and when I drive around, I find a beautiful tree, for instance, and it's so gorgeous that I just have to like set up my easel over here, which is very portable, and I just take my paints out, and then I just set up and I just paint. But before I do that, it's really not right to do it on somebody's property. So I have to knock on the door and make sure that, you know, the person says it's okay. So I'm going to do that now. Hope somebody's home, because I really need to ask permission. You can't just paint where you want to. It's not right. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good. I'm Robin Hoffman, and you are?
Oh, Cynthia Neff.
Oh,
I've
hi,
heard of you. Come on in.
Thank you so much.
Sit down and tell me what you're up to.
Oh, thank you so much. Can you sit down? You know what? I think I'll do your caricature.
Yay! I've seen your caricatures.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, see, so what I do is I go around Albemarle County and look for like beautiful scenery. But really, for the most part, not everybody takes good care. They're not stewards like you have been here in Albemarle County. And I have to say that this house is awesomely lovely. And so I'm so glad that to meet you, but also to be in your home. You know, at this time, you're so inviting.
I don't get too many people to just wander up the driveway.
And you know, that's one of the things that I love to do. Meet the farmers here and to really try to take in like what people are doing. I do caricatures, you know, at the farmers market, and I ask people, what are your nuances? What do you like to do? And so while we're doing this, I was wondering if I could also ask you some questions.
Okay.
By the way, do you know why an artist wears a hat?
No, I don't.
An artist wears a hat because it helps them focus from the light. So when you see an artist wearing a hat outside, it's that there's a lot of sunlight that needs to sort of be set in a certain way.
So that's your to-go easel?
So yeah, this is a one of them. I have almost, I think, every type. This one is an outdoor one, so like if it starts to rain or somebody sprays bug spray on me suddenly when I'm on a farm, it kind of like takes it. All right, so, you know, I'd like to know some things about you. For instance, you know, it's not every day that all of a sudden some citizen decides that they want to sort of become an Albemarle County Supervisor. And so I was hoping that maybe you could explain.
Oh, I'd love to. It's funny because, you know, a lot of people have asked me, so how could you run for office? Because it's really kind of scary. You know, you knock on doors. I mean, when you talk about wandering up to farms, you know, one of the things I do is I'll take a neighborhood and I walk up to doors, strangers' doors, knock on them and say, you don't know me, but my name is Cynthia Neff and I'm running for the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. And so, but a lot of people can't imagine doing that. You make phone calls to people you've never heard. Sometimes you ask them for money to help you in your campaign. So you know, you really have to get comfortable that this is the right thing to do for you.
But why did you specifically, you know, I know, by the way, that you have been an advocate for the people. I mean, you don't care about anybody's political agenda as much as you have the idea that people can benefit from your advocacy. And that's the main thing that a politician should be doing, in my mind, because, you know, I think that, especially that you are so astute to IT. I mean, you're an internet, you know, person. You are state of the art. We need somebody like that in our town council who knows what to do.
I'll have to knock on your door with my iPad with the walk sheets in there, all the data's in there. It's interactive. It's fabulous. But but you know, see, that's really to me one of the things is that I have been interested in government, you know, since I was young.
Oh.
But then, like many people, you know, you have to work and make a living, and you run out of kind of the time and wherewithal to really be as committed to public service as you'd like. So I've been really fortunate. I had a great career at IBM, and it enabled me to retire early and kind of move here, get a life, and really engage in public service. So that's
what in IBM did you? I mean, you worked there a long time. Was it something that fascinated you about a big a company like that? That's so Americana. I mean, yes.
It's actually an interesting story. When I graduated from college, went up to San Francisco, and I was a merchant. My best friend and I opened a store, and we thought we were going to be, you know, moguls. But actually, we just thought we were going to have a great life, which we did, at a fascinating time in that wonderful city. But I realized how hard it was. You know, how hard it is to make margins, and so that, you know, not that you just made money, but that you could live and made a profit, and you could
So
reinvest.
you are grassroots. You're the person that we all can aspire to, because you're starting from nothing.
Nothing.
And what we all say is, we're home, we're watching TV, we say, oh, what can we do? We can't do anything. We're just complaining. And you're actually doing something about it.
Well, it was interesting. I was part of, you know, the merchants associations. I was part of the various business associations. Testified in the Sacramento state government about, you know, what are the big issues for small business. And but then I got to be 30. And, you know, in those days, 30 seemed like it was really old. And I started to wonder if I shouldn't get a more stable career. But then trying to figure out what would that be, you know, because I really loved what I did, but I studied companies, much like I studied Albemarle. I studied companies, went to the library, and did a lot of research on, you know, major corporations, and it was fascinating. For me, IBM was, this was in 1981, and IBM had already had made a woman vice president in the 40s, had made real progress with African Americans in, you know, the 50s, had principles about ethics and customer service.
So
really
you could see that our Constitution, which is really our Bible, by which our country stays, has democracy, which is not a political agenda. It is that, what is democracy? What is democracy? Could you just tell me what is democracy?
Well, I mean, democracy is a big thing, I think. I mean, I think it's some of the stuff we've been talking about here in Albemarle County, actually, is as we battle over the word sustainable. And what that means is that, you know, is this freedom that we have to live our lives and be part of a community and have, you know, our rights respected and treat each other with respect.
And like fascism, where they tell you what to do.
Exactly. But that there's standards and balances that, you know, that make this all work together. A democracy cannot work, you know, in isolation. It really depends on us. And what I found in IBM was a company who had a value system, who had a vision for what they were going to be. And so I started there. I started out in sales operations. I worked in sales, I worked up, you know, and I worked my way up, and I had a fabulous career. I must have had about 50 jobs. I worked in, I probably traveled to well over 100 different countries in the process of working.
I'm sorry, I'm doing this.
I know you're very busy.
What happened here is, and this is a rule, by the way, you know, systems.
This is all just kind of happening so quickly.
I'm sorry. The systems in our country are like the systems on my in my art. I mean, art is a very rational way of doing things. People think, oh, you know, little kids make beautiful projects, but as an adult, you have to think out, you have to use your brain on both sides or whatever. It's a system.
You don't travel light either,
No,
I've noticed.
and but also the idea is that there is a science to what I do. That's why.
Oh, yeah.
And in politics or in running or being responsible for a lot of people, you can't just do something. You have to have like a beginning, a middle, and an end. You have to have meaning to what you do. I'm sorry. So I just wanted to say what happened to me is that my system, I didn't go through the checkpoints.
Oh.
And I messed up a little bit, which is my first. But one of the things is the type of paper that I use, I must have a certain surface for my crayons to work. So, I'm sorry. But do you know what? As long as we're getting back to your portrait a little bit, I need to know what some of your nuances are. And those might be, what is, aside from helping all of Albemarle County with understanding issues and being like so strong to be our advocate and all that, which is a big deal. What do you like to do in terms of leisure?
Oh, leisure. Actually, you know, probably the biggest one is reading. I adore reading. I have been collecting books and reading books for forever, and a number of my friends do too, so reading and talking about books, and it really is a luxury. My favorite form of leisure, though, is to have an afternoon when there's nothing really going on. It's kind of quiet. My dogs and I head out into the backyard. We find, you know, a shady spot underneath the tree. We have a hammock. I have a book. I have dogs. I have iced tea. I'm happy. I love seeing the sun filter through the trees and the blue sky.
And you obviously have this beautiful garden here. How long has it taken you to, how long have you been here in this?
Over 5 years. Over 5 years
It looks
now.
like you've been here for generations. It's just
well, you know,
wonderful.
There is something that's magical. My mother died a couple months ago, who I dearly loved and who'd lived with me for 15 years. But she adored this place and would talk about and tell her sisters and brothers that I live in a park. I live in a beautiful park. And so, you know, feeding the birds and bird feeders and bluebird houses and toad protector things, watching for the turtles. We have turtles blooming in our burn pile, so we can't burn anything now because we have turtles. And it's
wonderful.
I've never been able to live like this, and so to me it's such a treat.
And you want to protect it.
Oh,
And you want to be able to be an advocate for
you know what? It's just amazing.
sustainability. What? Tell me some of those things. Like you have like a whole list of things that you do with sustainability and advocacy and what's True Child and tell me all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, so the biggest thing and you know, one of my largest passions is from living in San Francisco. I remember when AIDS came and when AIDS was a plague, still is a plague. We just don't get as much attention. But I came here and I found out there was this wonderful organization called the AIDS HIV Services Group, and so I joined the board, and it's an organization that I've chaired for the past couple years. So, you know, that's a real passion for building community for people living with, affected by, or at risk for HIV
because
and
of our
AIDS.
taxes, first of all, pay for all of the people that don't get the proper treatment. Is why I'm so grateful to you today for donating to the free clinic, which talks about people who are employed who might have some kind of chronic disease.
Well, and actually the AIDS Services Group works really closely with the free clinic and some of the other nonprofits. In fact, ASG has been working with, because one of the things that's lacking in our community is really good mental health support.
Yes.
And so a mental health coalition has been formed by a lot of the the ASG, free clinics, Sarah, UVA, trying to figure out what do we do to boost that. And ASG was able to contribute a half a staff person to actually start this effort moving. So I'm very aware and very supportive of the
for the
free clinic.
youth here. I think, you know, just being, what is AS?
ASAP.
ASAP.
ASAP is probably one of the most controversial organizations in Charlottesville, which I find fascinating because there are some very strong activists, environmentalists on the board.
But what is it? What does it
It's
stand
an
for?
organization it stands for Advocates for a Sustainable Albemarle Population, and that's really the thing that makes it so so controversial in some ways. I've had people say, "Oh, wow, how could you belong to that?" And I said, "I belong to it because I believe in sustainability."
What does it mean?
It means it's an organization who's really advocating for the county and the city to work on a comprehensive plan, to understand what we've got here now. How much development have we had? What does the infrastructure look like? What do we have in the pipeline? You know, many people don't know. I bet especially the kids who watch the show don't know.
Is what I said about systems, is that we need to have some,
System.
we need
You
to
must
write it
inspect
down.
what you expect. That was my favorite
Oh, say that again?
saying at IBM when I went there. You must inspect what you expect.
Oh,
Isn't that
oh,
good?
I love this.
Isn't that good? And so what ASAP is trying to do is to say, let's look at our comprehensive plan, look at what we've gotten this far, look at what's in the pipeline. We have thousands of homes already approved, just waiting to be built. We have millions of square feet of
And
retail.
how do we go about it?
And then what happens? People are still trying to make exceptions, add more land to the growth area. So we're saying,
Let's look at
let's
it.
take the comprehensive
Take the
plan,
time.
look at it and
Make
see
sure.
what we have, get a lot of community involvement, and then decide. Because,
So-
you know, here's another of my favorite sayings when it goes about ASAP, and,
Yes.
and you know, not to be make light of it, but size matters.
Yes.
You know, nobody here wants to live in Loudoun County or Fairfax County, or they would have.
All right.
People live here because this is a special place. I mean, you came here, I came here, you know, lots of people that watch your show probably came here from somewhere else because it's special.
Okay, and that's where I absolutely become, well, first of all, coming into this house, you can see your presence of mind to be able to incorporate, you know, sort of your self in your walls and your art, your furniture and everything else, but also that you know, you took care of your mom is to me very important responsibility, which a lot of our community doesn't understand, is why you also, I think, have developed the sense of responsibility for not only where you live presently or currently in your own house, but as a community. I mean, that's so important to me to know that, and probably I wouldn't have came into your house if that didn't, because I'm very sensitive. But let me ask you something again. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm working on this thing.
And you're dropping crayons.
I'm sorry. I hope yes. Okay. So now, do you have a favorite color?
I would guess turquoise.
Okay. All right. And so you love reading.
I love reading. I actually enjoy drinking wine, and just one of the benefits of living in Central Virginia.
Yes.
And did you hear that the wine,
Yes.
some big wine
Yes.
bloggers and writers are coming here?
Yes. And so.
Which I think is exactly the kind of thing. You know, one of the things I asked somebody one time is, why don't we encourage more people to visit here? Drop a boatload of money instead of move here. Why are we competing to be the best place to live
So your
and not the best place to visit?
your idea as an Albemarle County supervisor, for instance, you're looking at the future.
Absolutely.
You're looking at the future for yourself. You live here.
I'm gonna die here.
See? And so we know that.
Not too soon, I hope.
No. And so we know that that is so important to somebody who is representing us. That they have the passion to be able to be there for us, have the energy, which I'm realizing that you do. I mean, I know, I watch you, I've seen you run before. What were you running for again?
General Assembly for the 58th District.
And-
Now ask me why I'm not running again.
You went house to house.
House down.
You spoke to me, you spoke to my husband, you spoke to all
Yeah.
these people. And what color was your mom's hair? Sort of?
Kind of blondish
Okay,
white.
okay. She's coming in your house.
Oh, really? So excited. And I'm not, and that is no longer an option. You'll probably notice that no one is running against Rob Bell this year, and that is thanks to redistricting.
Oh, how does, well.
Redistricting is where the politicians select the people who will vote for them.
Uh-huh.
And we took the 58th district, which was already primarily made up of Republicans, but we took some of the precincts that were strongly Democrat, like the Kale precinct and the East Ivy precinct, and we moved those into David Toscano's district, which was predominantly Democratic. So now the 58th is really Republican, and David's is really Democratic.
So what does that mean for the regular voters? How does that translate?
What that means is that unless some miracle occurs, I can't imagine anybody running against Rob Bell.
Oh.
Which is kind of a shame. I mean, and nobody's running against David Toscano either for probably the same reason.
We have to say that campaigns are for, and by the way, I think we lost that art because I'm noticing it over the years. I'm also like from the 60s or 50s or whatever you call it, but as people were given the forum or the platform on TV, it became less about what the issues were and more about appearance. By the way, you're gorgeous, so we should just hire you because of that.
Well, but I would agree with you.
But the platforms that people now have to be very quick. They don't get to really talk about the issues in depth. But I think what we have here,
and they pander.
So in other words, when you are campaigning, what your consideration is to try to get what your constituents or people who live in this area, for instance, need. You know, it's not about like how beautiful I am or whatever, you know.
It's one of the big things, one of the biggest thing, and which is really why one of the reasons I am running. I am absolutely, I believe fundamentally in transparent government. When I was an executive at IBM, I used to tell the management team, you know, we're not going to do anything that we could not go stand out in the bright sunlight in a parking lot and show the world.
Oh, good. So it's honesty, integrity.
And transparency.
And transparency. Here's
what's going on. And then the other thing is I believe in inclusive government. I mean, at IBM, I was fortunate enough to have all kinds of management development and leadership training. And one of the things is I really developed my participative style of leadership, where you have to find out what's on people's minds and you have to manage them differently. And I don't think that the Rivanna district has had somebody in a long time that's really kind of made a huge effort to go out and find out what's on people's minds and what they're thinking about. You can't make everybody happy all the time, but if people believe that you're listening to them and they understand there's a difference of opinion and that you're trying to be out there and work with them, I think that goes a long way. And we don't, I mean, we have a lot of people out here in the Rivanna district now that aren't happy. In fact, they're pretty unhappy because they don't think anybody's listening to them.
So,
and isn't that kind of a sad statement about local government?
In the world, it is. I mean, there are people who, with challenges unsurmountable, we don't realize that they take on so many challenges to get to helping so many people to be imprisoned or whatever. We're so lucky here that we have the freedom, and we have people like you who are taking that freedom for what it is, right? And using it to help a lot of people and not sit up, you know, on the couch and just
You can
complain.
tell that other than a few dog hairs, nobody sits too much on the couch here. It's like, you know, I get a TV and it's, you know, don't watch much of it, but
it's wonderful that you have this, I guess, ability to decide that I'm not going to sit on the couch, so I'm not going to take it anymore. You know,
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's just, you know, different people are made up. I mean, it's like speaking in public. I mean, I think like a lot of people, I used to get really nervous, but now it doesn't faze me. Well, some people just can't get past that, you know. Some people can't walk up to a door, so we all have different things we're good at and different talents, and there's room for all perspectives and all talents.
Otherwise, you could just do your IT and all the different systems, you know, and things like that, which is going to benefit our youth, by the way, especially our students in Charlottesville, that you know that. Because, like, I have to say that people who are here and now, it's what is happening on the internet. It's instant knowledge. It's not historical anymore.
No.
So if you're
It's
not
funny,
on board,
I've got several of my aunts on my mother's favorite people. Got them computers and got them online, and now they have little Facebook accounts, and it's wonderful because
it's a tool, and at the same time, for us to be able to communicate with you while you're in office is going to be magnificent, because I don't think that anybody's had that at all here. And
I mean,
and you are the one. It's not going to be anybody else. I'm so happy for myself, because I'm a person that has very limited time. And I need to be able to say what I'm going to say, and hopefully get comments back to be able to. So that's what it's all about. It's the here and now.
I've checked out your Facebook page.
Well,
because I saw your art on it. So.
Oh, thank you so much. And I have to say that the reason why people do that today is because there is so much you want to do and accomplish, but also the information is very state of the art when it comes out instantly. And also, how do you discern? Well, somebody like you who is on our side, so to speak, and advocating for us, can discern the information that comes in, the statistics for the sustainability or whatever we have to know, and you could put it all together and say, no, we can't vote on this. We got to look at the statistics, because this can happen.
Well, we've got to make tough decisions.
Decisions.
It's like, you know, I have never found in all the years of, you know, working that there were simple answers to complicated problems. It's just, it would be nice.
I want to show you your caricature, which, by the way,
you're done?
You need a painting. This is not something that I would say, because you know what happens a lot of times is I'm doing caricatures, and you have all these wonderful forms and colors that artists love, and it's not like for a magic marker. But here it is. I don't think you'll use it as your campaign. I'm going to have to do another one for your campaign. I'm just so interested in what you said that,
oh my!
It's just kind of...
It's cuter than me!
Oh, no, no.
Oh, and there's my mom.
In your house, so...
Oh,
but
isn't this lovely?
Yeah, and I just want to say that thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, because I'm an artist, but you are working very hard for us.
Oh,
and
thank
so,
you.
Thank you.
You're sweet.
No, thank you.
Oh. Yeah, well,
And,
I love this, but you will have to draw.
I'll do a better one for your campaign, hopefully. Because, again, I just want to promote the fact that I'm not voting for you necessarily. I shouldn't do that because I'm on public access. But I have to say that anybody, I choose the agendas of the platforms, and that's how I vote. And so I hear you, and I really appreciate you for everything you're doing, the work, and the effort, and the sincerity, and the commitment, and I thank you so much for that. No,
Thank
really.
you. Thank you very much. I
And so-
appreciate it.